Yo, if you're an LS player and you're on Fatalis and this is your first time, you're just trying to beat him, this video has some tips and footage for you. Now, there are a few things to go through before we start. Hopefully I can get them done in like less than 10 minutes. This will be using like let's see, using like this kind of tier of gear. Ideally you have your weapon augmented for at least health augment, but ideally also affinity and then status as well. I'll show you all the gear at the end and I'll put a timestamp so all the gear discussion and food stuff and items will go at the end afterwards. So yeah, this is just an opener set that we're using. Now, all the strats I'm using are intended to be really safe. Just consistent stuff, minimal risks taken, and also an opener with the cannons, and then using the roaming ballista, using some barrel bombs, using one tap binder, and then also Dragonator at the end. If you're not good with using those things, I'm sure you can still learn something from watching the footage, but just note this footage is going to use those, and I recommend you use those if you're just trying to kill Fatalis for the first time. Also, no Palico. And the reason is because Palico makes this fight harder, unless you're just trying to get lucky and monkey brain through the fight. Because, yeah, you can't really predict what the dragon's doing if you have your Palico there running around everywhere. And you also can't bait attacks. You'll see what I mean later. Alright, other than that, there are like 3 different things to cover about Fatalis. He has an upstate and a downstate. Some moves transition him between them and you're going to learn what they are when you see them. But yeah. There's one particular move that he can do in 2 ways. It's called the belly flop. He can either do it when you reach a flinch threshold, which is basically just part break on his belly. And then he'll scream and he'll topple over on top of you. Not a real topple, but yeah, if you get hit by it, you'll take a lot of damage and get pinned. If that happens, hopefully you have dragon pods on you. They're the ammo that he drops. Hit him with a bunch of those and he'll hopefully flinch out of whatever attack he's trying to hit you with. The same thing can happen, but with in a much more deadly way, I suppose. Naturally, if he just chooses to do the attack when he was going to pick any other attack. He can't interrupt attacks in this way, but he can when you hit the part break thing. Does that make sense? So it's like its own attack, and that own attack, the natural version, recovers quicker, so you can't punish it. And also he has the one that's done by you, essentially, and that one you can punish with a Helmbreaker. Okay? So that's the first thing. Upstate, downstate, and his moves almost entirely change. There are some similar moves between them, but then the rest of the move kit changes. So in upstate, he has a really dangerous move called Cone. We're going to be trying to bait Cone by standing like 2 meters in front of his face. You don't ever want to be far away from the dragon in upstate, ever. Okay? Even if you're trying to bait him across the other side of the arena so he crawls towards the Dragonator or something, you don't want to ever be far away in upstate. And when he's in upstate, you have to be extremely careful not to be knocked far away from him. Because during the knockdown, he'll start a cone, seeing that you're far away, and then you'll get up and you'll be in the cone and you'll die. So, yeah. This dragon beats you by pushing you out of good position and then hitting you with an attack you shouldn't have been hit by in the first place. That's how he wins most times. Okay? So positioning is everything, not overcommitting is everything. You never overcommit on this monster, or you just die. Sometimes. And the other half of the times are there to lull you into a false sense of security, making you think it's okay to be overcommitting, but really it's not. He can just choose to kill you if he wants to. Okay? So, there's that. Now there's another mechanic. He has 2 head breaks that you can get, similar to Alatreon. He also has 3 phases. In phase 2 he gets some new moves, in phase 3 he gets a whole lot of new moves. And some of his behavior changes. As well, in phase 3, he empowers his fire. So if we refer to phase 1 and 2 as base flame, phase 3 will be level 2 flame or blue flame. And then if you break his head once at any point in the fight, then the phase will drop down to level 1 flame. I guess we can just call that strong red flame. If you break his head again, then the flame will drop down to base flame like it was for phases 1 and 2, okay? You never ever want to fight him on blue flame. If you get to phase 3 and is still on blue flame, you need to try harder in the previous phases to break his head at least once. Because blue flame will one-shot you with a lot of flame attacks, even with health boost 3. So yeah. I think the AoEs are also bigger, but I can't be sure about that. They could just look more scary. So a lot of the strats will be focused around trying to hit the head where possible, but still also dealing a little bit of damage on the body. Now, one contentious thing is that we're using a lot of cannon stuff at the start. Cannons deal 500 damage with each cannonball. There are 10 cannonballs, so that's 5,000 damage. I forget how much health he has, but that's probably like a tenth of his health or something. Yeah, a lot of the cannon shots go on his body. So proportionately, the phase 1 that you're having when you do the cannon strat is not going to be very head-centric. Which means that in phase 2 and phase 3, and for the rest of the fight, you're going to be trying to hit the head as well. So just be aware that if you do the cannon strat, it's getting you like an easy ticket to phase 2, right? Where you can start learning the phase 2 and maybe some phase 3 moves. But if you're already comfortable with surviving in phase 1, you should just try and stay in phase 1 and hit the head, right? To make the later phases easier. That's what I recommend you do. But if you're low on DPS, like you seriously can't meet the 30-minute DPS check, or you're struggling to get into the later phases to actually learn those moves, because it does change a lot, then yeah, do the cannons. Okay, and finally, he has 5 Novas. The Novas are big ultimate attacks, like breath attacks, like cinematic ones with cutscenes, kind of. The first Nova is between phases 1 and 2, second one's between 2 and 3, and then the 3rd, 4th, and 5th Nova are at equal health intervals throughout the 3rd phase, on his way to dying. Right, so when you see like the 3rd, 4th, 5th, you know kind of how far you are before your win. That makes sense. For the first 2 Novas, there are specific places to hide behind something so you don't die. And if you don't get there in time, you will die to the flame no matter what. For the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, the strength of the flame depends on how many head breaks you've done. If you've done none, you can't tank the ramped up version of it. It ramps up over time, you see. If you've done 1 head break on this build, I believe you can tank the ramped up version, but you need to be at full health for sure. Or maybe you can't even tank it. I just wouldn't risk it if I were you. And then if you've broken his head twice, you can tank it, but yeah, make sure you're full health right before the big flame hits. If you don't know what that means, then just don't tank it, honestly. For the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, it's in a V shape, like a cone, so you run towards him and to the sides, diagonally. He's going to go to whichever end of the arena is opposite to you, and you just run there. Kind of underneath him, but to the sides, ideally. Okay, what else? Fatalis, like many other monsters, speeds up his animations when he's enraged. He also takes more damage and deals more damage when he's enraged. In phase 3, he gets an additional bonus animation speed, regardless of his enrage. So enraged phase 3 Fatalis is very fast. And there might be some openings you go for in phase 1 and 2 that you don't go for in phase 3, because he can punish you. Or maybe you just can't hit that opening. So yeah, keep that in mind. And there are several attacks that change in phase 3. But I'll point those out as we go. I think that's all the preliminary chatter. So let's start watching. Here I'm starting the fight in my opener set and opener item loadout. And I haven't eaten food yet. And that's because I'm using Fortify. And I recommend you do. Fortify is not required, but if you're not using Fortify and you're struggling to beat this fight without dying 5 times, you should be using Fortify. It's insanely strong. Each time you die, you get a stacking thing that gives you attack and defense. I think it's up to 20% attack, 30% defense, up to 2 times. So yeah. Wait, up to 2 times? Yeah, up to those numbers that I said. So yeah, I've got Fortify on my opener set, and I'm going to Suicide once I'm done here. And then that bonus will carry over to my main set where I also have Fortify equipped. It's very important that you have it equipped on any sets that you equip. If you equip a set that doesn't have Fortify, then yeah, you'll lose the buff. I put some barrels down there in a specific spot. After buffing up, you can just go and look at where I put the barrel. This was one push to the right and then load it with 5 balls. Then we're going to go and load the other one. I'm in Gilly at the start here, that's why he's looking around. Otherwise this strat wouldn't work. You can see I have maximum might on this set, because when I go down and fight him after he runs into the cannons, I'm going to get the affinity bonus and be at 100% affinity. Also got affinity booster here to help with that. And the rest is like damage skills, pretty much. And then I'm going to die. This one's 3 turns to the right. The first one was 1 turn to the right. We're going to wait until he starts going from the right side to the left side. His head. I think that gets you 1 hit on the head. Like I said, most of these are on the body. Okay, might pill as well, if you want. It actually turned a little bit there, so I gotta adjust the... Yeah. Fell over here, usually it's like here. I'm just doing a normal kind of combo, starting with an Eli Slash, and then full Spirit combo with some filler. And then Auto Sheath, and then Latch On. You need to time this right, or else when you go to wallbang him, he's gonna be in the hyper armor from the topple. And if you do it too late, you'll get knocked off, obviously. And then that's that, you can just die here. I go for a Special Sheath just in case he does bite, which he does. A little bit of extra head damage. And I just tank the Fireball to go back to base. Okay, so for EI, whenever I say ISS, I mean EI Spirit Slash, which is the big fancy slash counter thing. Normal EI means the triangle input from Special Sheath. 2 different things. I'm not going to be doing ISS much because I want it to be like LS beginner friendly kind of. Here I'm eating a Gruma Riser meal with large attack up. We can look at that later. And I'm just buffing up again because I died. I have Speed Eater 3 on this set, which is nice. I've got Temporal and Rocksteady Mantles. Now, what was I saying? I'm not ISSing when he's laying down, because those situations that you get yourself into doing that on the bites are some of the hardest situations on this guy. Mostly to do with Charge Fireball and the Ground Flames. So I'm not doing that. I may do some ISS while he's standing up, because those are relatively safe. Anyway, here I'm just building my levels. You always want to be on level 3 if you can. Level 2 is okay to do some ISS stuff. If you just like Helmbreaker, go into Special Sheath, and you see an opening for an ISS. But ideally level 3, and you never want a Helmbreaker when you're on level 2, which is yellow. Always level 3, which is red. So here I'm red. Now, ideally I'd Tenderize here. But I'm just going to go into this loop where you Special Sheath in the Cone Bait position, which is kind of in front of his head. See, he did Cone there, because I was in the right position. And he wanted to do Cone. So this is the main Cone opening you can go for with Helmbreaker. And now I'm going to try and Tenderize, and if you go for Tenderize on that, you often trade, like this. I'm okay with that, I accepted that when I clutched on. A safe Tendy one is this attack, which you can do if you want. Or the Zigzag Flamethrower, this one. You can clutch on here, but just be careful if you clutch directly on the head. Your path to the head may take you through the flame, so it's better to clutch to the body or wing, and then move to the head if you have enough time. You'll never get hit off like that. This tail I just roll. You can foresight that if you're close enough. I don't bother because I've already got my level. So here I'm trying to get back to the Cone Bait position. And then that's, see how that was a transition move? From up to down. If you were there, that wouldn't hurt you, but he would never do that when you're there. He'd do a belly flop instead that can damage you and kill you. But see how I roll backwards here? This is kind of greedy, but I want to be this distance. Well, ideally I want to be like here, under him, but I'm this distance so that he has a chance to cone, basically. Because if you're too close, he has zero chance to cone. You're basically saying, no, I don't want you to cone, and he will never cone. But if you're far enough away, he can cone. He has a chance. So then I roll forward. By the way, probably don't do this kind of thing because if I were to get hit here and knocked back and then he decided to cone, I'd be dead. So yeah. It's a bit risky for no reason. And that's phase 1 done already. We're not very far in. But that's because of the cannons. Unfortunately, most of the damage, like I said, is not on his head. So yeah. This is the first Nova. And we're going to buff up, sharpen, and then put on temporal. Take the one-shot binder here. For later. And smoke bomb the roaming ballista twice. First one's to make him lose track, and the second one's to cover us while we're on it, to stay out of sight. I'm trying to hit his head here, but honestly, if you go like entirely for the body, it's not too bad. If you unload the entire clip on the body, then you get a special knockdown, and then you can hit the head some there, tenderize the head, whatever you want to do. But yeah, I'll just go for the head. And then here I have not enough time to get a level up to red, so I just get my EI regen going. There's a foresight opportunity anytime he flops. As long as you have meter. Here I see charge fireball, so I get out of there. Just don't risk it with that move. Trust me, if you want to win this fight, just don't risk it with the danger moves. Go for the easy openings. See what I did there? This is something you can always do on the blob. As long as you don't start your Helmbreaker too late. You Helmbreaker and then you can foresight after a Helmbreaker, like in the end lag. And then you can cancel the foresight midway with a special sheath, which is R2 plus cross. That's just to stay out of the blob so I don't go back into it with the foresight. It's a bit more versatile than rolling to get out of the blob, but you can roll too if you don't want to commit to all that animation and you have enough time. Just depends on your position. So see here on the minimap behind my player icon, he's got a yellow eye. When he gets enraged, that goes red. He gets enraged from 3 claw slaps or a wall bang or enough cumulative damage dealt to any part of his body, like his total body. His being. So he's red now. He's enraged. If you're wearing Agitator, you get a damage buff now, but there's no space for that. Okay, so what changes when he's enraged? If he's on all fours and he does that charged fireball move that I told you to get out of, if he's enraged in phase 1 and 2, he'll fly up into the air, screech, and then swoop down on you. And there's a bit of wind gust in there as well. So that's kind of dangerous. If he is in phase 3 onwards, and he does that same move, but he's not enraged, I think it is, then he flies. And if he's enraged, then he doesn't fly, so it kind of gets flipped. What else? If he's enraged and he's standing up and does triple fireball, instead of going like doo, 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 like that kind of rhythm, they have a charge between them that gets increasingly longer. And the third charge fireball has a huge delay before it, and you can actually attack and special sheath, and then ISS that third fireball if you're comfortable with ISS. But that's a personal choice. I don't think I'll be doing it in this video. So yeah. Other than that, his animations are all faster. So like the cone opener, when you're hitting his head, that's a shorter window, right? A lot of the windows are shorter. And when he does the belly flop, that's going to happen faster. So you might not have as much time to get out, or you know, things can change. Anyway, single fireball. So here I hit his head, see? Like a lot of attacks when he's standing up actually have windows to hit the head with an overhead slash. Which is good. You should take those. Don't focus on hitting his body yet. Here he's going into cone and I see that, but I'm in an animation, so in Monster Hunter you never want to roll backwards, and I see that I'm too far past his head, right? Probably maybe the better thing to do here would be rolling left, so I come back to the other side of his head. But here I roll forward because it has the lowest, it has the fastest roll, lowest recovery, furthest distance. And side rolls are pretty good too, but not as good as forward rolls. Anytime you put your back to the only exit that you have, you've messed up your positioning basically in this game. You never want to be forced to roll backwards. So yeah, I roll forwards, turn around, and then start my spirit slash combo immediately. A bunch of hits are going to go on the wings here, but I don't care because I'm just trying to get my level up and a bit of damage on the head. You can direct all hits on the head and get out safely from both sides of his head. But it's pretty tricky, especially on the opposite side to where I am right now. And that was the first head break there. So we're kind of like midway through P2, kind of still near the start-ish, like early on. So we're not doing too badly. And here it's a really long knockdown. So see how I started with red because I just leveled up on the head break. So I immediately unsheath. Like I don't want to ruin my spacing and my direction, right? So I do a little dance around in a circle, but I unsheath with an overhead, which is triangle, and then I spirit thrust, so Helmbreaker. And then I go to the top side of his head, which is where you want to always be, because he pushes you as he gets up, gives you a little bit more time to wail on him. I special sheath after the Helmbreaker, which is just good, like this is just the optimal combo for the topples on LS. And then I do a full spirit combo, and I special sheath again, and then here I do something fancy, but you don't have to. And in fact, it kind of boned me here. I did a thrust with circle, and then spirit thrust into him, and what normally happens is he pushes you along and you spirit thrust as he's pushing you, and his head straightens out as he gets upright. And my spirit thrust connects as his head straightens out, and then I land and Helmbreaker his head. But he pushed me into the wall, and I went through him. So it wasn't the right play. Honestly, I'm not really sure what the right play was. I guess just anticipate that that might happen. And like, spirit thrust to the right, I guess? I don't know. On that crawl, he tends to, we'll call this the wavy crawl, because it's like all undulating and stuff. After this one, he tends to get upright. He's got another crawl, which is like the stompy crawl. Okay. So here, I came out that direction because I was already rolling forward, but ideally you'd roll back into a cone position. So here I'm in cone position, he decides to cone, which is good. I go for a Helmbreaker. And then that flinched him. So what happens with this guy is, he has the the head breaks, right? But 1/3 of the way to the first, to any head break, he'll have like a flinch thing, and then 2/3 of the way he'll have another flinch. So it's got 2 flinches evenly spaced between, I think. So that kind of tells you how you're going, what your progress is like on the head break. So I'm 1/3 of the way between the first head break and the second head break right now. And that cancelled his animation. That can happen. It can also happen when you break his chest, but that happens like later into the fight. He has like chest flinches as well as the chest break. It's kind of like his head. So I'm baiting cone here. Or a triple fireball while enraged. Okay, flame shower, that's bad. So now I'm just going to try and tendy the head. This is a risk, but any attack he can hit you with here is not going to be too bad. Because he doesn't have long enough to hit you before you can regain control. So he does a scoot back, which is quite passive. He does this move, which is a bad move, but it's not dangerous really. And it's really hard to do a good Helmbreaker off that move, I find. So yeah. Charge Fireball, you want to foresight that. Don't ever try to roll it unless you have no meter to foresight with. Here, it's really important. You can hit his head there, by the way. It's hard though. So here I know he's going to be upright, and he's going to turn towards me, and then he has the option to cone. So even though I took some damage during the hype round with my foresight here from the swoop. See, I took half damage. instead of what I would normally take. That's from the hyper armor from Foresight. Because over here he's gonna stand up. I don't go for the heal immediately, even though I definitely want to heal that. I run towards him and then see what his attack is. If that was Cone, that would probably hit me a bunch if I tried to heal it. So I know that this one's fine. I can just keep running forward and I'll be out of the way. And then he does a Cone here, which is nice. And then yeah, something funny happens. I start my Spirit Slash combo, but I was actually safe after the second one because it moves you backwards slightly. And I got out of it, but I was just, yeah, I wanted to play it safe. So I rolled out. I didn't level up. So basically when you're in this crotch position, we call it the level up position, you're just fishing for moves to Foresight off to level up. Some of them aren't so good. Like he has a quick claw slap and the long one. That's the long one. Swipe. He has a quick slap where he just slams down with either hand. The quick slap's harder to level up off. And sometimes you have to trade to level up with it. Okay, this is starting phase 3. So we're running to the barricade at the north of the map. If you're too far away during this, you're just dead. Because you don't have enough time. Yeah, we're gonna roll, put out the fire, sharpen, buff, heal up. Now here it's really good if you have Temporal. I mean, Rocksteady. He's gonna do a cool looking roar. But it's actually as easy to roll as his normal roar. Even easier, I feel. But just in case you don't make the roar, you can just put Rocksteady. And then here we've got the one-shot binder from earlier. Alright, and what you're gonna do is not fire it immediately, but wait until his a certain point. What I like to do is aim at where his wing joins with his body here. And then he's gonna turn to you, and as soon as he starts turning, you fire it. And that pins him to the ground. And then you can grab this other one-shot binder here for later. So this is kind of a topple. Here I'm just doing a spirit combo to level up, but I missed position. I didn't expect to, I should have been standing on the right here. Because he wiggles his head like boom, 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 and then moves it to the other side and tries to wiggle it out the other way. So here is on our left. I should have been here. And I get pushed back by him, and then I'm out of range for the rest. So it's just a full spirit combo, and then I normally eye. But if I had red meter there, I would have, from a distance, just done an overhead into spirit thrust, into Helmbreaker. And then I would have normal EI and aim towards his body and done a full spirit combo that way to level up after, like right before he breaks out of it like this. Alright, this is one of the new moves in P3. This is 360. It's only done when it's on all fours. It goes 360 around him pretty much. It's probably his highest damaging move, other than the Novas. So here's one head break, which means he's got like a strong red flame, right? And you know Foresight gives me like 50% damage reduction, and I still take this hit of damage from one tick of this. So yeah. That will one shot. So you can Helmbreaker during it. That wasn't a very good one. I'm not very good at this, honestly. He pushes me back with his hind legs and tail. But you can even Helmbreak the head, but I wouldn't go for it honestly if you're new to the fight, because this flamethrower hitbox goes way up into the sky. It's really obnoxious actually. Anyway, so 360, you actually, it's broken up into multiple hits, right? So that's why I iframe the first bit, which is fine, and then another hitbox essentially appears and hits me in my hyper armor, even though I iframe the first part. Normally if you iframe any part of an attack, you can, like, you don't get hit by the rest, even if you're in the hitbox. That's not the case for this one. And it's not the case for Cone. It's not the case for the like wriggly crawl thing that I mentioned. That one actually has repeating hitboxes. Anyway, Just Superman that if you're really far away, or you want to be on the other side of him, ideally. But you can foresight for a level up too, of course. That's fine, as long as it's not Blue Flame. Never do this with Blue Flame, you always want to get out of the way. You shouldn't be Blue Flame by P3 anyway, though. This actually hits to his side briefly, and then under his chest. So under his chest is not safe, you want to be way around the other side. And then here it's fine, because his neck is really long, you can just go under. But yeah, just be very careful when you see him do this 360. He only does it on all fours. And he can technically do it anytime, like I think he likes to do it if you're far away as well. So here's the stompy crawl. From upright. And his all fours. He does 360, so I'm here, I'm safe. I'm just trying to get a level up. Roll by it. I'm trying to turn him around so I'm not dealing with that ledge. He's standing up now. So I'm in cone bait position, but he chooses triple charge fireball. This is because he's enraged. He does a standing charge fireball, which is new in P3. See how his head's low to the ground like that? You don't want to be anywhere near it. Because that actually, it's like ground targeted. It's not targeted through you, it'll hit where you were. Yeah. This is a big opener though. You can level up off this if you have meter. Or you can use it to get normal EI meter regen. Or you can use it for a Helm Breaker. Or you can use it to 10D. Just don't 10D his head, obviously. Any fireball moves will hit you off the head. Any flamethrower moves will generally not hit you off the head if you're already on it. There is an exception though. I think 360 will hit you off the head as he turns towards the side that you're on, because the hitbox is giant. So let's see what I do here. Yep, just normal stuff. So yeah, like ideally I'd like to be hitting the head for a second head break, but I'm just taking what I can get at this point. Here, good opportunity to hit the head. I turn to the left so I'm not stuck in the blob before it explodes. Now, I'm gonna teach you something that will save so many runs. Never fuck with these blobs as a casual player. If you just want to kill this guy, don't fuck with these blobs. Don't, like, here's the priority list. Reposition by rolling out of them twice, right? That's the best thing you can do. Or iframe them with a roll. That's second. And third is foresighting them. Fourth would be like, if you're already in Special Sheath and you have no way out, try to time an EI Spirit Slash as a last resort. You probably won't have time for the fifth option, or like I guess third option, which is like Sheath and Superman. So yeah, just try and position so that you're never dealing with these blobs. As soon as you see a blob, move out. Just don't. Because a lot of the worst situations he can put you in are to do with these blobs. And they do a lot of damage anyway, so. You can sometimes foresight level up off them, but just don't, honestly. Like, it's not worth the damage. Yeah, because sometimes he'll have a follow-up like the Zigzag Flame, which is really annoying when you foresight, or like, he can fall on you as well right after you've committed to a level up. He can just collapse on you from this, and the timing makes it really dangerous. Like that, actually. Like, if I foresighted that, I would have been coming back and trying to round slash him right as he falls, which means I wouldn't have enough time to actually do another foresight for the fall. So yeah, it's quite dangerous. You can level up off both of the crawls. So Blob, I get out. And here's something really important. Look at what he's thinking. Blob, they deliberately made it this way. After he does Blob, he really wants to do Cone if you're within Cone range, or without Cone range, I guess, like far enough away. Because what happens is players get hit by these and knocked back, and then he cones, and that's how he gets you. He pushes you out of position and then kills you. So it's deliberately made like this. What I deliberately do in response is I try and come out away from him when I'm rolling out of these, if possible. And that baits the cone, and then I wrap around to punish. It's a really important thing to know about those blobs. So this is the third Nova, the first Nova of the third phase out of 3. That's the ramp up that I talked about. If you're in it when that happens, it's a big hit, and then it doesn't damage you for the rest of it, but it's a huge hit, like you need to be full health. I don't know if we can tank it with just one head break. It's not worth it, honestly. If you can get out, you should just get out. You're just trying to kill him. So I'm just leveling up. He blobs. I roll twice. This is a grab. It's actually quite a rare move. So if he didn't blob and he was doing something else before this and I was in his crotch, the best thing to do is time a roll forwards underneath him, because then he goes over the top of you and it's fine. That's the easiest way to dodge it. Well, actually, ideally you foresight it, but I didn't have meter here, see? I was on red with no meter, so I can't foresight that. Otherwise, at mid or long range, you just run to the side and time a roll. Or you can Superman, but that means you can't punish it as well. Superman's really strong, by the way, if you don't know. Just where you sprint away from the monster and roll, and it gives you a dive. I'm leveling up. I actually don't know how I didn't get hit during the round slash there, but whatever. So here I'm just trying to hit his head and bait cones at the same time. He's on for all 4s now. Fireball. Okay, just waiting. 360. Okay, I can punish this. I was too chicken to move forwards during this because this thing extends up into the sky. But if I moved forward and left, maybe I could get a better Helmbreaker angle, I don't know. Here I'm forced to foresight, because I have my weapon out and I'm attacking. Other weapons don't have this luxury, but with LS you can get away with a lot, as long as you're not overcommitting too hard. He's standing up. This is really important as well. Every time he does this scoot back plus the exploding flame lines, you can see it coming from a mile away. He moves back and he stands up. And you know what that means? You're in the danger zone for cone. This is where people die as well. He could have coned there. And if I didn't choose to run at him, then I would have died to the cone. So whenever he does that, you always need to go towards him. Even if you're low health, just run towards him, see what he does next, and then heal. So let's go back. Okay, blob. And see how I moved to the side? This is still cone range from him. This is good baiting. If I moved back, it would be dangerous for cone. If I moved forward, then he wouldn't do cone. So now I'm ready. Although I don't have enough time to do I didn't think I had enough time to do a Helmbreaker. And I didn't have enough time to level up. So what I do here is the other Helmbreaker punish, which is what you see like really good speedrunners like Pamela's doing. It's a lot harder to time, and the reason is because his animation speed changes throughout the fight depending on enrage and phase. So you hit him a bit on the head, and then you time your spirit thrust as he's coming up. This was a bit early. And you move towards him in the Helmbreaker, and you slash, and ideally you land all the ticks on his head. So it's pretty much like the instant Helmbreaker, except you get some extra hits at the start, and then at the end, you probably can't punish the next attack, but sometimes on the next attack you get to foresight it from the Helmbreaker animation. So that works out really well, and overall it's a bit better, but I would only do this for you if you're not there in time to get the original Helmbreaker opening. Because if I went for Helmbreaker here, I might have gotten hit by the blob afterwards anyway. Just slightly too early on that. That was a bad foresight, but you know what I was trying to do. This is an easy foresight. This is the long one that's easily punishable as well, because that was caused by out damage. Here he's flying up. He has a wind gust as he lifts off, I think. Yeah, triple. See how fast those fireballs are? That's because his phase 3. In fact, in this fight, when he has triple fireballs, they get slower when he's enraged, and that's because they turn into charge fireballs. His uncharged fireball is really fast. So this is a big opening if he's flying. If you ever want to clutch on and tenderize him with 5 claw slaps or something, this is a good one to do it on because he moves across the arena for like, I don't know, like upwards of 10 seconds doing this shit. Just make sure you clutch onto the body and then move to the head and you're fine. Also, the most dangerous part about tendying him when he's in the air is going to be when you come off. Make sure you choose a good time to come off. It's okay if you just stay there as long as you can and then get hit as he does the swoop, because that won't kill you if you're full health. And you can heal afterwards. Just don't come off when he's about to do flame shower or something like that and insta die. Anyway, I don't think I even clutch onto him in this run. So here's the one-shot binder I picked up over here earlier. I'm just waiting till he turns towards me. And again, I'm aiming for the wing, where the wing meets the body, because it's side on. Here I was a bit greedy. I went for an overhead on his head and then spirit thrust. What I would recommend that you do, the consistency, is overhead about here, and then spirit thrust towards him at a distance, because then you're not going to slide past him. This is what I do. See how that could have missed? It didn't, but it was really close to. And now I'm turning towards him to try and land this round slash just barely before he lifts his head up. Because the swing goes clockwise from behind you on your left, it hits sooner, effectively, if you're angled more to the right, you see. If I was angled to the left, it would take longer for my swing to contact his head, meaning he would lift it up sooner. It's just some nuance with the weapon, but whenever you're not sure you're going to make it in time, you can always go towards the body, at least. Easy foresight on the raw. I don't punish because I'm trying to hit the head there. I miss. Feels bad being bad. I've got the temporal on. I think I put this on so I could use the one-shot binder. Give me a sec. Just had to sort something out. So this is the 4th Nova. Same as the 3rd one. And then we have one more Nova and then it's dead. Okay, Blob. I'm trying to get into a cone bait. It didn't work. It's just his decision. I hit his head there. See how you can get overheads? And that was the second helm break. A head break. So I go straight into a helm breaker. I'm trying to make the curious decision to go for his belly. It would have been better to go for the head, honestly. The head's 5 hit zone higher than the belly, so it's better assuming they're both untenderized or they're both tenderized. If the belly's tender, like if only one of them's tenderized, you just go for the one that's tenderized, unless you need to break the head. But yeah, I already broke the head, so now I have my choice. This wasn't the right choice though, because I get neck hits. And I could have just done the same thing on the head. Here there's something important too. I delay the helm breaker. See how I press triangle while I'm almost at the ground? That swings really late into the fall, which puts all my hits down low instead of distributing them along the wings and the back and the bore and stuff like that. I just hit all of them on the chest. 74, all of them. So you can control that with triangle in the helm breaker. This is charged fireball. This one's really dangerous. P3, enraged, on all fours. This thing is kind of like the P1 and P2 one, where he would usually fly up and then screech and then swoop. It's going to hit all the way here. Like even if you're really far into his chest, it's going to hit you. So you want to be really far away. Get out here. Yeah, it's huge. And then here he goes upright. And it actually transitions into that other one that's really good for punishing with Helmbreaker. So you can technically punish this. Because he's standing now, right? Look, he's still standing. So now he's doing standing attacks. Yeah, I tried for a cone cone bait, but he does this new attack in P3, which I'm surprised we haven't seen yet. This one, if the other one was 360, this one's like a standing 360, so we call it PlayStation. He kind of looks behind him like the 360, and then he breathes forward and then forward. It also hits under him a little bit, so you gotta be careful. But he always moves back a lot while doing this, so it's a bit annoying. You can actually, you got speedruns, if you contact with Spirit Thrust midway through this and then just go straight up into the air, you're right next to his head by the end of it, so you can Helmbreaker that way. But I wouldn't risk it if you've gotten this far in your own kill. Yeah, see that? They move away. And then he cones. What I could have done is gone straight to the side, but then I probably wouldn't have been far enough away to bait the cone, so rolling out in this direction is good. As long as I'm sure I can get around in time. The unfortunate thing is because I'm so far away with that cone bait, I can't really punish it properly, so I have to go for the delayed Helmbreaker. And see that was puny. I just go for a thrust, because that's all I can really fit. I don't even hit the head with it. And then my Spirit Thrust was early anyway because I was in a rush. And then because of that I hit the body instead of the head. Head was too high, hadn't come down yet. So now 2 rolls out of blob. See that? If I dude, it keeps on happening. If I tried to if I stayed there, did a thrust and then foresight, I would have gotten owned by this belly flop. Don't mess with the blob, dude. Another charge one, he's gonna stand up. You can punish this with a Helmbreaker, but I'm level 2, not level 3. So I'm just leveling up. Maybe blob again? No, PlayStation. See how now that I've broken the head, the fight's much easier because I can just focus the belly without worries. That doesn't mean I have to keep attacking. You just attack until it would be bad for you to attack again, which is like when you have blob on you or something. Just roll out. Wait for another good opening to get in and attack. Or cone. It's as simple as that. The fight's not really that hard once you know what the traps are that you can fall into. Blob, I don't fuck with that shit. I roll out. Blob, I don't fuck with that shit. Okay, Zigzag Flame, Helmbreaker Punish. This is the same one I did in P1, I'm not sure if I mentioned it. Here there's a bit of nuance. Because P3 Enraged, this happens fast enough for me to foresight it with the end lag from the Helmbreaker. If this was happening slower, because his animations were slower, then I might have to fit a thrust in and then foresight off the thrust, because this end lag is going to end before it's time to foresight, essentially. It's kind of a game you have to play with LS sometimes, determining how much filler you need before your foresight, or if it's better to just roll because you can't get a good foresight timing with the things that you have. But yeah, punish. That's a chest flinch there, that's why he did that. It's not really something you can capitalize on, it's just something that'll interrupt attacks sometimes. It can actually be pretty dangerous. Here I decided to Superman, I didn't need to go this far though. That was a waste. And see how I'm scared of it wrapping all the way around and hitting me at the end of it? Because it can do that. You need to be careful not to move too far around him. Okay, triple fireball, see how it's charged? The third one's always going to be a big one. I just refresh my level 3. Baiting cones, that's a crawl. It's laying down because he did the stompy crawl from standing. Right? Yeah, standing, stompy crawl, laying down. 360. He likes to do this 360 when you're far away too, so just be aware of that. It's really easy to Superman though, it's nowhere near as dangerous as cone. Okay, big charge fireball, he's standing up, Helmbreaker. That Spirit Thrust is really easy to miss. Don't fuck with that. Zigzag Flame. I would like to foresight that, but it's really hard to foresight on the second zag. So I'm just getting some hits in. Actually could have leveled up there if I knew he was going to fly away. So this is 5th Nova, the final one. Broken Head the head twice, so technically we could stand in this, heal right before it goes boom, and tank it. And then we could get some extra damage in. But here I'm going for the Dragonator. Can actually do this. 3.3k damage from one of them hitting. The other one didn't hit. But then when he flies down into it, it hits. So we get the damage anyway. The thing is, normally you get a knockdown when you hit both of these Dragonators. It does like a little topple, a shorter topple than the headbreak one. But it's still topple, like free damage. He doesn't do that if it's in the Nova animation. Or flying down from it. But this was pretty funny. That was the end. Good 5th Nova, Dragonator, dead. So yeah, that's the gist of the fight. Basically, just don't fall into any of the pitfalls that I mentioned. Don't get cocky. Try to understand what moves he's doing and what that means for your positioning. Positioning is everything in this fight. If you position well and don't overcommit and you have a good like loadout, then it's pretty much done. You just need to learn the moves. You know, as long as you're like comfortable with LS. What I did in this video though isn't very technical for the weapon. Yeah, let's I'll hop into game and talk about some set stuff for the last like 10 minutes. Talk about items and gear and food. Yeah, so the second Helmbreak headbreak wouldn't have come so late if I didn't do the cannon strat right. Because I get more hits on the head during P1 and less on the body. But the cannons, they just deal so much damage, it's like 10% of his life. It's really strong. Okay. I'll just quickly show the items that I use in my opener set. Need a lot of these healing materials and stuff to make them. The buffs, of course. Honey Mandragora, all used for making potions. Barcast is nice if you don't want to take the intentional death. Barrel bombs required. And then you should have all of these for just stat boosting things. Wetfish Fin, you should be using this instead of Whetstone. There's an event quest to farm it. This one's just a bit of extra healing. I didn't even use it, but like it's pretty much like a jerky, like that instant kind of thing. But it's a huge chunk of health. And then is that my opener set? This one's my fight set. I think all that changes is I take out the bombs and I put in materials for smoke bomb. I'll just go through everything anyway. Okay. Show my opener set. The opener set is this is Furious Rajang body and coil. That's because it has a 2-piece bonus for Max Might Secret, and these 2 pieces by themselves give you Max Might 5. And then Kaiser, just because they're good pieces. I don't know. I didn't really optimize this to the ends of the earth. I think Garuga's a good piece. Gilly, because it needs it for the cannons to work. Unscathed Charm is peak performance, which is just nice bonus. It's like 20? Yeah, 20. I had this mod here that shows the actual true attack value of my weapon, not the bloated one that the game shows by default, like 1000 and something. So yeah. This way you can compare the true numbers that these are giving you with the true number on the stat sheet instead of the bloated number on the stat sheet. It's like adding 20 to 318. So whatever 338 over 318 is, that's like the percentage gain you get from this, pretty much. Gilly and then Affinity Booster to take us to 100. So my weapon has actually, Light Break weapon has 0 by default, 0 affinity. This one has 10% because it's augmented. Health regen, affinity, element. So 10%, and then we have Crit Eye 4 for 20, so that's 35%. Attack Boost 6. Wait, no, that was 30 and then 35, yep. Max Might takes you up to like 75. And then Affinity Booster, which has like it lingers for 20 seconds after you leave it, so you have it for the entire opener damage. So yeah, we're way over 100% affinity, and that's without Wex. So yeah, that's that set. I'll show the decos. These are the decos. Okay. Fortify, because I'm doing the death strats. You need Fortify on this set and the set that you swap to for it to retain the bonus. Quick Sheath is good just because like it's in the damage rotation, I suppose. Just comfy. And yeah, Heavy Artillery you want in the set itself, not on the Ghillie Mantle, because you'll notice as soon as you fire the first cannonball, the Ghillie Mantle disables because you're in combat. So anything that's socketed in Ghillie Mantle won't apply after the first fireball, which means you're not getting the double damage on them, I think. You want Heavy Artillery and like not Mantle. And then the actual fight set. So on this one, we're using Glutton's Charm for speed eating 3. Very comfortable and saves a lot of time. And then Rocksteady for tendies, and also just general defense, because it gives you like 30% DR or something like that with the hyper armor. And Temporal Mantle is really good for the roaming ballista, and we can socket Heavy Artillery in here for double the damage. And it's also just a nice defensive one as well. It's nice for if you want to hop on the one-shot binder as well later in the fight without risk of fireball. So yeah, Raging Brachy weapon, and then we're using 3-piece Tio, and then the Kirin jacket and the Yarn Garuga Greaves, because these things have 2 Crit Eye, 1 Divine Blessing, okay decos, and then this one's got insane deco slots. Deco 2 slots are really, really strong. So a Deco 4, Deco 3 is like okay, Deco 1's okay, and this has 2 Crit Eye on top, so it's really good. I'm gonna quickly point out that on this demo set, if this is the only thing you're using like Furious Rajang for, you don't need to upgrade or augment these pieces. You don't care about the defense because you're not getting hit until you suicide. Right? On this opener strat. Okay, let's look at decos. So this is the fight set. It's my skills. Pretty standard stuff. If you don't have these hybrids, or you don't have whatever deco, you can farm them, or you can make like some compromises or move stuff around. There are multiple ways of coming to the same skill outcome in this game. Just swapping which ones are hybrids and which ones are solo. Shaver is something that's non-negotiable pretty much. It's just way too good. You should use it as soon as you get it in the game for like every hunt on a light weapon, pretty much. Because it helps light weapons tenderize so much. Fortitude you need on here. Like, if you're dying so much you can't beat the fight, you need Fortitude because you're obviously going to die. You should expect it. If you don't need Fortitude, what are you doing watching this video? So Heavy Artillery is for the roaming ballista, right? Fire res here is just an added bonus because I have 8 fire innate, and if you get to 20 fire res, or 20 of any elemental res, then you can't have their elemental blight applied to you. So this gives 12 at level 2, which takes me exactly to 20 with these armor pieces. And that means that while I'm wearing Rocksteady, I can't get fire blight. It's kind of nice. If you weren't running Fortitude, or you were okay giving up some evasion or quick sheath or something like that, you could run Coalescence Hybrid here, So Coalescence is a Iceborne thing, so it's near the end here. You could run like Phoenix Vitality, Phoenix Protection, Phoenix Evasion. Because it's a level 3, it's extra cool to have it like as a hybrid in level 4. Because that means you could put another level 3 in a level 3 slot. But anyway, like Coalescence is really, really strong for the first level. Plus 12, and then plus 5% status build up. And then the rest of the levels are like half that good, or even less than half. I don't know why they made it like that, but anyway. That requires you get fire in you, so if you were running that, you'd probably, instead of this fire res here and this mantle, you could run like, you could run Resistor, which is somewhere. I don't know where it is, but anyway, it's like minus 50% duration of blights, which combined with the Feline Groomer would let you get rid of them in one roll. Or you can do level 2, which is minus 75%, and then you don't even need Feline Groomer, you can just one roll and it's gone, I think. So yeah, that's quite good. That still lets you proc Coalescence. If you're going to get rid of Evasion, then you could run Crisis Jewel, which is, yeah, Resuscitate. And that gives you the equivalent of Evade Window 5 while you're affected by an abnormal status effect, which is Fire Blight. Works for other things too, but the only one this fight has is Fire Blight. So yeah, that's about it. I'm sure there are other good skills to chuck in here, like Part Breaker as well, 30% more damage progress on the head breaks. That's pretty nice. I just couldn't find it in me to replace any of this stuff, because like having Evade 3 is really, really good on this fight. It actually lets you, if you time it well, you can actually roll the Charge Fireball from all 4s, as well as a bunch of other stuff. It's good. It also applies to your Foresight, but not your EI slashes. So yeah. That's about it. I'm not sure if I went over the skills in the opener one, so yeah. I'll quickly go over food, and then that's it. You should use a gourmet voucher. Don't eat before the hunt if you're doing the suicide strat. Eat after you suicide. Ideally use a gourmet voucher so you can get max health, max stam, but most importantly, the food skills. These are the only two I'd really recommend. And it's, you can do it either all meat or all vegetables. Meat gives you attack up L, veggies give you elemental res. So if you can get to 20 fire res like that, then if you're not using Coalescence, then that's pretty comfy, because you don't have to deal with Fire Blight at all. And you have Heat Guard from Teostra bonus, so you won't have to deal with a Burning Ground either in Phase 3. Which is a thing, by the way, I didn't mention that. But yeah, Teostra completely negates it. I like the attack up L, it's 15 extra attack, which is pretty big. It's like an extra demon drug on top. And then you can use Feline Groomer or Feline Medic. Medic just increases the health that you get from, well, everything. Health augment and your healing items. It's a little bit though. Only a little bit. Feline Groomer helps you recover from blights faster with rolling. So normally I'd have to roll 3 times, but in that footage I only had to roll twice because of Feline Groomer. And Feline Riser. Feline Riser gives you a bunch of iframes when you get up from a knockdown, like a full knockdown. You know those knockdowns where you get to lay on the ground and bask in the iframes? It makes your iframes better in the animation getting up after that. And also, I think it buffs Superman iframes. At the end of the iframes, you get some extra added iframes. And I tested it before, it seemed like I could chain Supermans with no gap in iframes between, but I didn't test it on something constantly hitting like Vitalis Cone. Or something like that. I tested it on like some other quick multi-hit attacks. But yeah, it's quite good, I like this one. Let's see, other skills, you can press select here when you're making a thing by the way, and it shows you other skills. Polisher, useless with Whitefish Fin Plus. Rider, useless. Stun, useless. You can actually mount him, but I don't expect an LS player to be doing that. Acrobat is nice for speedruns because you get up faster after the full knockdowns. Like, it doesn't let you go down into the iframe state, you just get up. But it's bad for casual stuff because you lose that iframes. Feline feet are pretty much useless because most of your attacks have the effect of this anyway, stopping you from getting knocked on your butt by like the small bites when it's on all fours. Moxie can be useful, but only if you're immune to Fire Blight, because then you won't die instantly after the Moxie procs. Rise is good. Black Belt's pretty much useless on LS. The only thing it's good for is like clutching to him while he's in the air and trying to tenderize if he gives you bad RNG and stays up there for a long time. Or running to the barricade at the end of P2 if you're really far away and out of stamina for some reason. But I would say it's not a good priority. Heroics, no good for casual. Yeah, Grim is good, Medic's good, Specialist, meh. Sharpshooter, Bombardier, Pyro, meh. 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 Now here we have Taylor, which is 5% reduced cooldown on mantles, which is pretty meh. And Safeguard gives you an extra feint before the quest fails. Which, if you're dying 5 times, I feel like you fail the DPS check anyway, but maybe. The thing is, we're on LS and we lose all our levels when we die, and then it takes a long time to get back up, so I don't know. Kinda sucks for LS, but if you feel you could kill it if you had if you're allowed to feint a 5th time without failing, then yeah, go for it. The only thing is when you choose all alcohols, you lose like the attack up or the elemental res up. And then these ones aren't relevant. Yeah. So yeah, I just choose these two. Sometimes you get a daily skill there that's called Feline Insurance. And that one does the same thing as Safeguard, it gives you an extra feint. And if you get Safeguard and Insurance, then you get +2 feints. So on the special assignment version where you have you fail on the 5th feint, you would instead fail on the 7th feint. Just something to keep in mind if you see it there. But I think you should focus on understanding the monster a bit better. And the weapon. So yeah, that's that. I think that's pretty much everything I need to cover. Break head, be wary of certain attacks, watch your positioning, don't overcommit, don't bring a stupid Palico. Don't follow a meta set, just use the good skills. Speed eating is hella underrated, trust me. Quick Sheath is good for LS. This isn't even the right set. You don't know what I mean. You saw it before. Yeah. That's pretty much it. You could go with a different mantle instead of Rocksteady. Evasion's pretty good, or Glider Mantle with some like nice deco slotted in, because Glider Mantle Plus gets 2 level 4 slots, and it has a long duration, short cooldown. But it's up to you really. Personally, I like running Evasion Mantle and Glider Mantle because it feels less cheaty, but I also don't tend to do like the Balliststone Cannon and stuff like that. Dragonator. But yeah, play how you feel like. Just realize that usually when you get hit in this fight, it's because of something that led up to that. There are some exceptions, like you accidentally deal enough damage to belly flop him, and he belly flops during the middle of an attack where you were committing, which is kind of your fault, but I guess I'm just sour from speedruns where you're expected to just do that stuff because it's slow not to. Like, you have to do it. Anyway, that's about it. Let's quickly go through this again in case I missed anything. This is my glam. Bye.